Hey everyone, thank you for joining me again. Today we have our special co-host, well, I can call him that. I think he's a little bit more than a guest. Connor, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Tier.
Yeah. We have a special conversation for you all today, right? We're not really doing movie reviews per se, but we're going to talk about one. What do you say?
Yep. And the movie we're going to review is called They Live.
They Live. If you all have not seen They Live, when was it made? Like 1981, 2, 3,
I'll have to
something.
double check, but yeah, it was made before the 90s, and this movie it's not it's actually, oh yeah, 1988.
Oh, okay.
And the director of it is John Carpenter. And if anyone knows John Carpenter, like the kind of movies he directs, he has directed some really like amazing horror movies, like The Thing. So
No, I
it's
know I know John Carpenter. I know that name. I'm not a big movie guy, but there's a few movies that I really like. One of them being The Matrix because of the message, and the other one being They Live. Tell us why They Live is so pertinent to our conversations that we're our premise conversation anyway of narcissism because it is exactly the templates lay over each other. Am I right?
Oh, perfectly. It's pretty amazing how accurate this movie is. Like obviously it's got sci-fi elements to it. But it is incredibly close to real life. It's the parallels are there. So yeah, let's talk about it. Basically you have the main character who remains nameless throughout the entire movie. No one actually knows his name.
That's funny
And
because I was going to ask you his name because I didn't remember. Thank goodness that he didn't have one. I'm not just forgetting stuff. Okay.
yeah. The only way you would know his name is from reading the credits, and in that one they called him Nada, Nada, because
Really?
there was no name, just Nada.
Well, that's he was. I'm not into pro wrestling. I never did like that. But his other gig was a pro wrestler. He was it Rowdy Roddy Piper? Isn't that the guy? The
Yep,
guy he's
yep,
the guy that's got like the mullet in the show. That's him, right?
yep. That's the main
Okay.
character.
Okay, he's the nameless character. Okay, great. So,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we kind of see the movie through his eyes,
mhm.
in terms of it's his story. So there's not really any scenes that stray away from him. It really is meant to be from his kind of perspective, and it starts off where it's hard to find employment, and he's trying to get a job, and he's down on his luck. And he goes into the employment line and he tries to get a job, and they say, "Sorry, we have nothing for you yet." And this is just the start of it, but then you sort of realize it's all there's actually there's this huge mass deception going on, and you slowly learn as the movie progresses, and you it's really good because it shows you through his perspective, um how all of a sudden he's come to his predicament and conclusions throughout the show, and then the big call to action in the movie where everything sort of like starts happening for the main character, in terms of like events like, oh, here's problems happening,
Mhm.
is he he's just looking around, and he sees this church, and he noticed there seems to be some suspicious activity going on, and he's wondering if maybe like it doesn't really reveal his motives, but he's down on his luck, and hey, if there's some money or something that he might be able to steal, he's thinking about it. And so he goes into this church, and then this church, though, turns out it's just an audio recording. No one's actually celebrating in this church.
Oh,
And
that's
so
right. This is right
and
before he finds right before he finds that box of glasses. It's pretty early in the movie, right?
oh yeah, super early. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so he
he's
goes in there
he's
and there's nobody celebrating, there's nobody singing, Yeah, he's looking either for a handout, or you can't tell if he's trying to steal something or just looking for charity. But he's milling around that church. I think it's funny how they use the church was their first symbolism in the movie.
Oh yeah, and so what happens is he manages to see all these glasses, and he doesn't really care much about them. Like he sees them on the table, and then this freaky blind preacher freaks him out, and he runs away out of the church. But he could tell that something was really weird about that, but he just didn't. He didn't really know what he was getting into, but he did find a hidden panel, and there was a box, and he didn't know what was in the box at the time. And yes, in the box there was just a bunch of the glasses and a bunch of these like sunglasses type of thing. And what it turns out though is those sunglasses they have Hoffman lenses is the term that they were coined in the movie. Basically, this Hoffman lens allows you to see the world, to see behind all the deception that's been going on. And so what happens is when you put on the glasses, it's like you're seeing things from a completely different perspective. And that to me is brilliant, because that's one of the most important things that if you look at like philosophers and stuff, that's one of the most important things that they can teach you, is to say, here's a different way to look at something. Here's a way to try and understand something from a different angle.
If you've ever seen the obey meme, I believe that it comes from that movie, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, it
It does. When
does.
he puts on the sunglasses with the Hoffman lenses, he looks up at a giant billboard. I don't know what it was. It was a car commercial or something. And then when you put the those glasses on, then it shows the obey, and everyone has these, or not everyone, but the whoever they are, they live. You can see them, but only with these glasses, and they look different from the other people in the population. So.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, what happens is, and you learn this throughout the movie. What has happened here? This is spoiler alerts, obviously. So
Yeah, guys, we're talking through the whole movie too. So what you know about it so far, as far as They Live, it was in 1988. It has everything to do with the topics that we discuss. But we're gonna talk about it. It's gonna ruin the movie for you a little bit. So maybe if you want, go watch it wherever you watch movies, and then come back to this if you want to. But he's right. This is gonna be a spoiler. We're gonna take it all the way to the end. So. Anyhow, but get it. It's really cool. Oh, and The Matrix is the other one. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yep, no problem. So yeah, with They Live, what happens is it turns out that there's an alien race that has been taking over, and it looks like, from the humans' perspective, it looks like the aliens have already won. Whatever wars have happened, it's already over. It's game over for humanity in that way. And as long as you remain asleep, they live. That's the premise of it. They live, we sleep. And so what happens is when Roddy Piper or Nada finds these glasses, initially he doesn't think they're worth anything because he hasn't put them on, he hasn't used them.
Yeah,
But
didn't he try to sell them like on the sidewalk first?
well, initially he thought the box would contain money or something. So
Yeah,
he,
but
he
am I
initially
wrong? No, I thought that he tried to sell it. Like he had the box and he's on the sidewalk. I thought he was trying to sell them for a while. Am I making that up?
I'm not well, he was walking down the street, but at the time he was just trying to stash it.
Maybe I was
And
just thinking that he was going to do that. Maybe there was some sort
yeah,
of foreshadowing. Okay, good.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, they do leave, like, they leave a lot of this movie up to interpretation. You don't really get to know most of his motives throughout the show.
Well, why else
Um,
was he going to steal a box of sunglasses if he didn't have a job? He, my idea was that he was going to, go sell them, for $10 a piece or something.
yeah. Initially, when he didn't know what was in there, he was going to, yeah, initially because he had to stash it away. But when he found out that it was glasses in the box, then it was just like, okay, I'll stash these away for now. But it's one of these things where in the movie, um, he when he finally puts on the glasses, all of a sudden, all the world, the colors drained from it, so everything's gone to like this desaturated grayscale. And then the big change though isn't the colors changing; it's the fact that these advertisement signs and books and magazines and billboards, and even shop signs, instead of saying like going out of business sale or something, the sign says consume, and he goes, what?
And obey, consume. Yeah.
Yeah, marry and reproduce, and
Hey, I'm going to stop you on that because we're going to get through this movie. But does anyone remember when George Bush came on? Speaking of They Live and a bunch of psychopaths that are running things, does anyone remember when he said, "Just go shopping"? That was literally his message to the American public when we were in the Iraq War. Don't worry about it. Just go shopping. And I'm thinking, who is this? Why are we shopping? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, go shopping.
Oh, wow.
Was it the Iraq War? It was either the Iraq War or 9/11 or something. Something really terrible happened. He said, "Yeah, we'll just so obey and consume." Right? You're right. So
Yeah, and so what happens is he starts looking at these glasses, and then he starts walking down the street, and he's not really paying attention to anyone. He's just looking at different items, and he's checking it. He's taking the glasses on and off, and he's seeing the differences, and he's just going, well, this is really neat. All of a sudden, he's seeing things from different perspective, and he's investigating, like he's using these glasses to go, what else is different? And so what happens is he goes to this sort of just open street bookstore, and then every book, every magazine is it's just the pages inside of them. He opens them up, and it just says shit like submit, follow, surrender, consume, buy, do not question authority. And it's just and
wear the
it's just
mask, take the shot. Wear the mask, take the shot.
oh my god.
Dude,
and
I know that's it. We know that. We know that. And they've been doing this. They've been doing this nonsense for so long. Never let a crisis go to waste. Obey.
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah. And so what happens is he all of a sudden he's not paying attention. He's reading all these books, and he bumps into a person, or so he thinks. And then when he looks up at the person, he's really freaked out because he has the glasses on, and instead of it being a human being's face, it's this really like rotting corpse face of like an alien, basically, is what they are. And it's this like corrupted human, and it's like skin's all different and discolored, and like, oh, and its eyes are big and bulging and freaky, and it's like it has
I
no
think
real lips. It's
I
just
think that's actually backwards. I think his eyes should be like smaller and kind of closer together, but that's just my
oh
take.
well, I mean, I've seen the I've seen the movie and the pictures. They have big
No,
bulging.
I'm saying the movie. My rendition. It would be their eyes would be beady and closer
Oh,
together.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Maybe with a
yeah.
bigger nose or something. I don't know. That's just I'm just throwing some stuff out there, people. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it definitely gives off the feeling of like, whoa, this isn't right. And what happens is it turns out, and as he's learning this though, he starts making mistakes. And his first mistake is calling out these aliens and going, whoa, you're ugly. And and the thing is, though, all of a sudden and this is back before cell phones, but all of a sudden they start communicating with one another using a little watch on their wrist, and they say, we have one that can see. And it's like, oh
Right.
shit. And so and
Right.
so our main hero realizes he needs to get the hell out of there. But what happens is a police car pulls up to arrest him, but then he has the glasses on, and he realizes the police
The
are
police are
also
part
these
of
aliens,
the
and
police
they're
are
in
part of
on
the
it.
New World Order. Yes, that's what this. Yeah, they're. I can't use the terms I want to use. God, Connor. Anyway, yeah, the police are part of the New World Order. All the literature that you see, the billboards, everything, and then with these glasses, you can see some of the people are really not people. They're these aliens walking around, but you can only see it with the glasses when they're on.
Correct. When you have the glasses off, um, everything appears to be all normal and all happy and just everyday life. But when you have the glasses on, you realize above traffic lights, there's little satellites saying sleep, sleep, sleep on repeat. And you're like, what is this shit? And, and these glasses also allow you, I guess, in a way to also hear broadcasting messages and stuff. Anything subliminal becomes like a parent type of thing. And so and of course this is sci-fi magic, how the glasses came about and all that. They don't really explain that, but that's okay.
This one, you're right, there's not even a lot of dialogue in this movie. Like, kind of to revisit what you were talking about, it's some of it's left to interpretation, because obviously I inserted that part of the story just on my own, but you could, there's a lot of interpretation in it, but the main bones of this movie are exactly what it's like when you wake up to the psychopaths that are running things in the macrocosm and the sociopaths and the narcissists in your own life. It's exactly the same. What we've been trying to do is to educate people on what it's like to awaken to a narcissist. And it's just like this. Like, you're putting these glasses on and you're seeing everything completely different. It's so relevant. Do you not agree with that?
And one of the biggest parallels, and this is actually really a big highlight in the movie, where they have a big fight scene with his best friend, Frank. And his thing is he needs to convince Frank that there are aliens walking among us. And Frank thinks you're fucking crazy. You went because
Yeah.
what our main hero did is he got himself a shotgun, walked into a bank, and said, "I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all
out
of
of bubble gum."
And then he starts shooting the aliens in the bank. But to everyone else, it looks like normal people are getting shot by this madman. And so his best
Okay,
friend
so
thinks he's fucking
look,
crazy.
if you're calling out at the narcissist in front of a bunch of NPCs, they think you're the bad guy.
Oh yeah.
God.
It's something. And so what happens is, even trying to convince his best friend to put on the glasses, his friend goes, "What the fuck? I'm not putting on the fucking glasses. You're crazy." And that's the problem that we have when we wake up to like narcissistic abuse and stuff like that, and we realize the little fucking games that are being had and this crazy shit going on, and then you try and educate someone who's unaware of this stuff, and they just don't listen. And it's really one of those things where they just can't believe it. It really is unbelievable, and that's what the aliens are banking on. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on the fact that who the fuck's gonna believe you?
Bruh, that's what's going on right now. That's what's going on right now. Who's gonna believe you? How many times have you tried to red pill someone about the bigger picture and they just won't listen? They just want, I mean, even if they're smart people, they don't understand. They don't get it. Or if you're trying to explain a family dynamic or something being around a narcissist, people start to, well, she's always been nice to me. And then you try to get them to wear the glasses or see it in a different way, and it's just nearly impossible. Nearly. So they're banking on that. That's what's happening now.
Oh yeah, and so it's really crazy when you look at the movie and you watch it and just like, oh boy, I'm seeing I'm seeing a lot of parallels here to real life.
Hmm. It's really kind of disturbing, though, because back in 1988, they've been planning these things for probably literally hundreds of years, if not more, and that's not fiction. So maybe whoever wrote and directed it. Wait a second, did he? Rowdy Piper didn't write or direct this movie, did he? Yeah, oh, no, you already told
No,
us. It
he
was.
did get his famous line in there, the
Yeah,
kick
that
ass.
is the line. No, you already said it was John Carpenter, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, John Carpenter knew something back then that we didn't know. And he knew. There's no way. There's no way that he made that movie that way, that it was so parallel that he didn't know what we were going to discuss even now, because it's actually worse now.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is so like, the funny thing is back then, 1988, right? This is super high tech. Everything is like they can communicate on their wristwatches, and they can even it turns out they can teleport using their wristwatches because they're an advanced alien civilization.
Hmm.
But the thing is, all the technology is, they even have like invisible drones watching you and shit from the sky. And and at one point after
There's nothing in this movie that's really sci-fi.
Yeah,
This is
again,
real. There's invisible drones watching us now. You can't see them. You can't see every camera that you're being tracked by. This is
oh
like
yeah,
beyond narcissism. It really is. This is into like just wicked psychopathy. This is Borg mind stuff too. And the people that are doing this and are in charge, they are all somehow kind of sort of related. And they are. They
it's
treat the planet like they're aliens. They don't treat the planet and anyone else like themselves. They're completely removed from it, and they bank on people not waking up.
yeah. And the thing is though,
That's everything that this channel is about, is waking people up to that.
yeah, and I for me personally, the way I see it is this is an absolute perfect parallel
Mhm.
to people being unable to think outside their comfort zone. And what's happening in this movie is they're not allowed to when they're watching TV. If they start trying to think about what they're watching, they get a headache and it hurts them. And that's actually the aliens' ploy to condition you, and so you won't think about it because that hurts. So you'll just
Mhm.
watch and consume and just sort of exist and but not really live life like oh it's and like yeah don't think and no independent
There is
thoughts.
nothing sci-fi about this movie. It's even the where you're talking about they can communicate with the wristwatch. I mean, the iPhone has I guess the other what's the other one? The
Well,
Samsungs,
that's
they have them as
exactly it.
well. You can
It's getting
communicate.
less and less sci-fi as years go on, like it really there's
Now,
really not much sci-fi
look, I
left.
know that I have a couple of miles on you, which is that's all right. But when I was a little kid, and I was a real yeah, I was in grade school. There was that Star Trek, and they had the phaser, and then they had his communicator, and it looked like a flip phone. And they didn't have these phones yet. Like the first models of cell phones, my parents had one. It was this giant thing. It was called a car phone, and it had it had this big battery, and it was still connected with a handset, and they cost like 5 grand or something. It was really expensive then too. And then you'd have it, and you'd plug it into your into the console of the car. They didn't have those, but now you have things that are beyond that. And even 1988, I know that a lot of the people that listen to these channels maybe weren't even born in 1988, but it's not that long ago. So it's kind of weird how all of this technology that was kind of dreamt up, and then you see it, and even the ways that people were writing movies back then is now coming to fruition. Is very strange. This is very strange, and I don't think that it's completely under their control, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, luckily we're always going to have people that want to do their own thing. And for better or for worse, you have the things you'll have bad people doing their own thing, but you're also going to have good people doing their own thing. And my only real concern at that point is making sure we have more good people than bad people, because if you have more bad people doing their thing than good people, there you're going to run into problems, big problems.
Well, we're kind of at that tipping point now. I
Yep.
hope that the general population and even the non-playable characters get tired of the way of the consumerism and the manipulation and the just all-out. It's kind of like just mutual abuse with all of them. They're not even nice to each other, to tell you the truth. Hopefully, they're going to get worn out with this and start looking for something else. I think that we're ahead of the curve, which is
Yeah,
why we visit movies from 1988 to bring it to you guys. So, there's
yeah.
another one too. Not to skip gears or anything, but I think our next one. I need to throw it out there. Everyone's heard the term gaslighting, or to be gaslighted. I don't think it's gaslit. Whatever. Anyhow, the movie Gaslight is where that comes from, where they try to make you feel crazy. And when you hear that in the narcissism awareness communities, that's where that term came from. It's an old movie from 1950 something, and I think if this gets a good response and then people enjoy it, I think we should watch that movie and do some discussion on it as well too. So, and I interrupted you for far too long that time, Connor.
Oh no, that's fine. And I think that's also a good movie because I have read the brief synopsis of it, but I haven't actually watched it myself.
I liked it so
So
much when I first got involved understanding narcissism. I ordered copies of it in case I couldn't find it again. I thought it was that important. So
yeah. And so I guess you know what I will point out the biggest part that is sci-fi in They Live. And the biggest part why this is sci-fi is what makes this truly science fiction is if the solution was really that easy to wake people up just by smashing a radio broadcasting station.
Oh,
Like
right.
if it was that easy to just wake people up and be like, hey, wait a minute.
It's easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled. We could shut down all of it right now, and everyone would still be a big train wreck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's it. The problem is like in this movie, the problem is that your senses are getting compromised by advanced technology. And so by disabling that technology, all of a sudden you see the actual aliens. You don't need the glasses. And that's the big thing at the end. All of a sudden it's like now everyone can see you for what you are.
You hear
And
that, you aliens? We're coming after you, man. We are going to expose you. You are so done.
Yeah, and so the biggest issue is the fact that but I mean the biggest issue that we have in real life and not just from the movie is the fact that we're not in charge anymore. That's really it. The problem that I see is when you like accountability it doesn't just start at you. It also starts from the top. And when the top people aren't being held accountable and that trickles down and no one's being held accountable anymore, it gets very, very scary very fast. And that is real life, and that is exactly what it happens in this They Live. It's an exaggeration of it where the aliens have basically allowed a few humans to be rich as long as you keep selling out and being a shill for the aliens and keeping their cover and keeping things running, maintaining status quo. So that the aliens have already come to Earth, and it's the hobo, the drifter at the near the end of the movie, this different guy, and he's really just a bum. But all of a sudden, he's dressed in a nice suit, real fancy, because he got paid off, and he basically betrayed the resistance that was going to be uprising and stuff. He managed to get in, infiltrate it, and betray it. And I mean, I could talk about the aliens and their planets. Like it's very they are very, very they don't you never really encounter their hive mind or how they think or what their government structure's like. All you get to know is that your planet, your systems have been compromised by these aliens, and you don't really get to know anything about them. And but what is scary is the simple fact is, and I'm glad the main character realized what a big problem it is. It's like these aliens are doing a mass deception on the human race. How could this possibly end good for us? This isn't them coming to us and let's share technology and stuff. This is we're coming, we're gonna we're gonna keep people in mentally enslaved. And it's like the main character realizes it. He actually gets it, and he realizes that this is something that he has to fight against, but he doesn't. That's why he kind of joins up with the resistance and starts trying to do something about it because he realizes it's a problem. And in case you guys haven't noticed, people like Tyr, when they woke up, they created their own YouTube channel to help spread awareness and be part of that resistance.
Yeah, we're on the short list. I already know that. That's fine.
Oh,
Whatever. You're not going to scare me. I've already been scared. You have no idea. What's that? There's that Sam Kinison. I'm not a fan of his. The joke where the guy goes to hell and the devil comes running after him. Just and the guy just stands there. And the devil looks at him and goes, "What?" He goes, "I've been married." I assume to a narcissist. He goes, "Oh, you've been married?" He goes, "Yeah, twice." He goes, "Oh, let me show you around the place." They live, folks. They live. But we are exposing them one Saturday at a time. Yeah, I don't remember. I know the aliens. I don't think they. I know they were communicating, but I don't remember any dialogue between. I don't remember them talking at all in the movie. Did they talk?
Well, they did talk on the TV. They were your politicians. They were the news. They were the media. They were all the positions of power there to influence how you think. All of a sudden, it's like, oh look, that's the corrupted human. That's the alien there.
Uh-huh.
And so what I really liked in the movie is at the end when when the hero destroys their station, causing this mass deception, all of a sudden people can then see it all, how they really are, like on the TV, these commercials and stuff, and the news, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you look like shit, and all of a sudden they're exposed, and that's what it was. It was a massive exposure at that point. And
Yeah,
so
we
the thing
can
is, there
only
really
hope. We
hasn't
can
been
only
any.
hope on that. I'm so dying for a mass exposure for these people. God, it's so time. Well, I wish the where's where's Roddy Piper when we need him in a box of glasses? Actually, you know what? It's Connor's diagram. That's your glasses right there. You want to see them? You want to see they live? You study that. That'll do it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
thank you. And yeah, basically there's one character we should really talk about, because she basically almost beat the hero, and she is Holly the betrayer.
Gee,
So
really?
Holly,
Was Holly like his girl in the movie for a minute, or?
not well, she's never his girl. Basically, he was in a parking lot because he had to escape after, shooting up the bank, and he basically was waiting in a parkade, and he managed to basically go behind this rich girl and then say, "Nope, get in the car, drive me to your place." And that rich girl turned out to be Holly, and
Ah,
she was actually a betrayer, and she was an inside spy, and she was on the alien side, and the thing is, she had a big rich house, a big rich neighborhood, and that was kind of the warning flags initially, because the idea is, like, the only reason you're rich is if you're shilling for the aliens, you're doing what the aliens want. And so the actual systems of humanity were actually all being taken over, if not already completely taken over. And very, very scary stuff. And Holly.
there's nothing. There's so far nothing is deviated from our current story. This could be what's happening now.
Yeah, I know, and it's something, right? I mean, this movie came out 1988, and here we are, what, almost, yeah, about 30, 32, 33 years later, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, you know what? There's really not much sci-fi here. This is like if someone this is
Yeah,
someone doing a very light sci-fi over a real life story. That's really what this has
there's
become.
stuff I want to say so bad, man. There's stuff that I want to say so bad. I just know better. Just get the glasses. Just okay, y'all just get the glasses. If you study these topics long enough, you will come to the same conclusions, and I am just not going to tell you. I want to say it. God, I can't. I'm sorry, Connor. I just
It's okay. And but we should sorry, I'm getting off topic with some of the
I'm
stuff
taking
because
you
it
off
is so
topic.
relevant.
That's what it is. Go back. Go. Okay. Again, the movie is They Live.
Awesome. And so yeah, what happens is, um you have two really bad humans in this movie. There's two bad humans, two spies, and one is the hobo drifter who sells out to be part of the winning team. And I mean, he's definitely 100%. That's a comfort camper. He's your NPC. And but the one that's worse is the betrayer Holly, and she's more of like a flying monkey, or like an advocator from the circle of slaves who enforces the status quo. And she had been screwing over the resistance the whole time and feeding the resistance bad info, saying, "Oh no, we've checked the news station, it's definitely not there, but the broadcast signal seems to be coming from the news station. No, it's definitely not there." And so it's exactly the gaslighting stuff. And what happened is, though, her cover, the aliens, I mean, this was never explained, but yep. And just like Mike Judge saying, he's no prophet, he was off by 490 years with Idiocracy, regarding it being a documentary. It's also, I think there's a clipping here saying, John Carpenter says, you have to understand something. They Live, it's a documentary. It's not science fiction. So
He did
it
say
really
that.
is. And he told Yahoo in 2015, but whatever that interview was. So I think it's kind of neat that you have these directors that come out with, science fiction, or some kind of story, a warning about the future, And then, sooner rather than later, all of a sudden it's like, oh, and it's no longer sci-fi, it's a documentary.
I think I've heard that one time before. That is clever. I know that he probably knew that when he wrote it, but that's funny.
Oh man, it's something because one of the big parts here. We'll talk about the betrayer Holly, because she almost beats the main hero, and she almost like completely destroys the uprising. Um, she was feeding bad info. She was doing bad things, and at the end of the movie, she of course betrays them. She betrays them, and she shoots. She kills his friend, and then he's about to dismantle the big broadcasting signal to basically expose the aliens for what they are, and then she tells him to step away and stuff. But um, the hero, knowing that she has done something bad, realizes that she is a bad person. You don't have to necessarily be like, yeah, the aliens are the bad guys in this movie, but they also recruit the humans to be part of it. And that's what you see with the narcissist and the NPCs. Narcissists will find many ways to recruit NPCs.
Yes, they do.
And so one of the scary things here is, if you look at it from the aliens' perspective here, if you look at it from their perspective, she had outlived her usefulness. She was a resistance spy. She was meant to spy on the resistance, and when she's done with her thing, that then they have no more use for her. So her wealth and success and fame and all that, it was only temporary. And that's why I think on purpose that they got the hobo to be recruited in her place, because hey, that makes it really hard for anyone to try and connect the dots. We'll just keep recruiting new people for the roles. And so if there's another resistance, we'll have the hobo guy sent in to do his job, and to keep crushing any resistances that come about.
This is exactly the way the banking industry is working. Exactly.
So
This is like, yeah, this is not even a joke. It's clever, but it is true. This is what they do when they bankrupt countries. They already have their eyes set somewhere else. I don't know where it is, because we will be. I don't know when, but it's going to go down, and it's going to be hard for anybody to track them down or trace them. They've been doing it for a very, very long time.
Well, and that's one of the things that one of the big speeches at the end is the hobo drifter who's been newly recruited goes, guys, they got their act together. There's no more countries. It's just them. They control everything. And then he as he has a speech, he goes, I'll show you around, and they see that, yeah, these aliens have achieved like interdimensional, like, or like intergalactic space travel, where they can like basically go at like light speed to some other planet. And you realize, oh my god, this slave system is so much bigger, and you just don't know. You're on a need to know basis. You don't get to know any thing about this. And
To touch on that, we don't know where we came from. We don't know where we're going. We don't even know where we are in the universe. What if this is true? What if we really are like a habited planet from somewhere else?
yeah, well, I mean, there's been a lot of people talking about, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and one Egyptian hieroglyph that kind of looks like an Apache helicopter.
Wow.
There's that one.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, there's something to that stuff. I'm telling you, there's something. The deeper that I dig, the crazier this stuff sounds. I mean, I used to listen to these guys. Well, yeah, you come from Atlantis, and then the guy goes, "Well, let me show you where Atlantis used to be." And yeah, there's a big ridge there, and when the ice sheets were 200 feet thicker, yeah, that was landmass. And where did they come from? They said, "Oh, it's the Pleiades." I'm like, God, well, you know what? That makes as much sense as. I'm not going to put this in here, by the way, Connor. They put it makes as maybe I will. I don't know. It makes as much sense as the Abrahamic crappy sand religions that are destroying everything, or Wicca, or some. I'm just like touching. I'm sure I've stepped on everybody's toes right there, but it's like none of that shit makes any sense. It's like, why not? Maybe we're from aliens. I don't know. I feel like
Oh,
an alien in my own fucking town sometimes.
oh, no kidding. Like, I mean, especially when you wake up to this, right? All of a sudden you start feeling like the alien. It's true. It's like in the movie They Live, like the main character really still feels like humans are in charge, but then as he starts realizing that humans really aren't in charge, he starts feeling like the outcast. He starts feeling
Yeah.
like the
Once I
alien.
looked around and of all the goddamn narcissists that were around me and it was my family and the people I knew, I was like, I started to feel, I was like, ooh, man, I've just marginalized myself. Yeah, the more you wake up to it, the crazier it seems. I'm not, yeah. It's like, am I really related to these fuck sticks? Are you serious, man? I'm not, am I really related to these people? There's God, really? So look, you might have a slight nervous breakdown waking up to this stuff, but it's always worth it in the end.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I mean, it's from what I can tell, like I have awakened enough as I need to in terms of this stuff because it's just like holy shit. This
No,
is
you have. You're
yeah.
yeah.
It's just
You're one of the people with the box of sunglasses that can see it. Thankfully, I know a little bit about your personal story. You didn't have to go through as much as some of us.
oh yeah. I was very fortunate, and the only reason I caught on was because I had so many questions, and eventually something matched on the internet, and it's like oh my God, this is what's going on, and because the word narcissist really wasn't a popular word until very recently. It
Well, yeah,
wasn't, and
it's not. I
so
wasn't a
it's
popular word at all. I told you, I pulled out like a checklist that I found on this website, and I said, "This is what you did to me. What did I do to you?" It was like a demon voice came out of this bitch, right? I'm serious, and I'm like, "Okay, now I know, yeah, and I'm right, and I was right then, and I'm right now."
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why you're able to articulate it as well, because some of the people are real fucked up, dude. Some of the people are destroyed you touched on it enough that but thankfully you didn't marry one or have kids with one or it's just god damn they can just ruin things for a long time. So and the they live thing is just goes right along with it. It's funny how it was a woman that betrayed him, isn't it? Gee, can't imagine that.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, I mean that's and the thing is the hero he could have called her out on it because she completely lied to him because initially she and we actually we should include this part. So one of the things here we're going to kind of analyze the villain Holly because um she completely destroyed the resistance
Hey,
and
hey, 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 her name's Holly
yes.
Hollywood. Remember, this is coming from a producer in that town.
Holy fuck. You know what? That actually, yeah, I'm not sure what her last name
Dude,
was.
listen.
Was her last name Hollywood by any chance?
We check, but listen. The first thing that he sees is that he goes to a church and it's completely empty, and there's nothing but pre-recorded voices coming out. This guy's
Whoa.
given some heavy symbolism in this movie. I need to watch it again. I'm really sorry I didn't. I'm sorry I didn't watch that. I just didn't have the time. And
Oh, it's okay, man.
yeah, but Hollywood, Holly,
oh my God. I didn't even think about that.
the
Oh my God,
church,
that's all of them.
the
Because if
church
you think about it,
betrayed by
they
Holly.
and they covered the church, they covered the banks, and then she's Hollywood, the betrayer. Holy fuck.
Uh,
Dude.
hey, that's why y'all come. That's why y'all come to these discussions.
Oh, oh, okay, yeah, okay. I learned something.
That was worth it, wasn't it? Wasn't that worth the meandering and BSing for? Yeah.
Oh my God, that put some glasses on me right there. Holy shit!
Mm.
It yeah, your news media, your news outlets, your banks, your politicians, your religion, uh, and
Run
then
by
there's
a bunch of
Holly.
aliens.
Yeah, and
Run
Holly,
by
and
a
the thing.
bunch of fucking aliens, man.
My God. Whoa, that
I always
was
wondered how people could get so fabulously wealthy, and I had to. It began to occur to me even before the narcissism epidemic when I realized that they have to be playing by a different set of rules. That, you can't. I'm like, well, I think I'm, mostly as smart as everybody else, and I'm pretty well behaved, and I kind of know what I'm doing. Why can't I be a billionaire? Well, number one, you're not part of the Borg. You're not part of the little system, and
It's a
you're not
big
part of the.
club
You're
and
not
you
one of
ain't
the.
in
You're a big club and you ain't in it, and this is the club they're talking about.
it.
Hollywood.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay, so the last name was Holly Thompson, so they weren't quite ballsy enough to say Hollywood, but
Well, that would have been too. That would have been too. That would have been too
to
blatant. Yeah.
yeah, and you know what? And that's her whole thing. Holly's whole thing is to be is she's a complete covert aggressor. She's covert. You don't see her coming, and she fucked everything up. And so that actually, if you translate that from Holly to Hollywood, like holy shit.
You're gonna tell me that some of these producers don't know what's going on in Hollywood? They
Woo.
write stuff like this. I'd
Oh
like to.
my
I'd
God.
like to. I'm gonna research that guy. I'm gonna see what else he's about.
Well, you know what? John Carpenter, one of the big reasons I like his movies, especially The Thing, was it was all about impersonation, right? You think it's a person, it's not, it's an enemy, right? And that was the thing with The Thing, because The Thing would pretend to be other people, but
Hmm.
it would turn into a big monster to try and eat you and assimilate you. And then you would be one of the things. And so yeah, I mean, John Carpenter, he seems to be really good at themes with imposters and impersonation and mimicry and stuff, right? So he can see these parallels. He sees these fucking parallels, man. Like this cannot be by coincidence that this movie is this close. Like
No, it's not.
it can't be. No. No,
It's
I
not.
don't buy it for a second. So just
You know,
oh,
and why not? Because I quit watching movies a really long time ago when I realized that I couldn't really interact with the screen and that they were taking my emotions in ways that I didn't want to go or grossing you out and things that you don't expect. And I'm like, man, who's writing this shit, man? Who is doing this? And this has been a long time ago, decades ago, where I'm like, man, I'm real careful what I put in my mind. And so why not when they're dropping the Easter eggs and those shitty Hollywood movies, why wouldn't he drop his own in his movies? Even though he's coming out of that town as well. This guy knows. This guy knows. Yeah, he does.
wow. And the thing is, yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, I mean, you wouldn't be greenlit if you made it obvious, you know, this movie, just like Idiocracy, right? Idiocracy was this it really is a movie that really paints a really exaggerated picture, but it's becoming less exaggerated as the years go on. And the same thing goes with They Live, really exaggerated, but all of a sudden, when you compare it to today's standards, it's like this isn't really that exaggerated anymore. We're heading in that direction, and that is some scary shit. So,
Man, I
oh,
was in one of those movies for about 15 years, man. Yeah, I was there.
God.
It was a
Yeah,
fucking nonstop horror show from from morning to morning till night every day.
yeah, and that's just it too. Like you don't just like a main character of a horror movie, you don't realize you're in a horror movie. It's it's just
That's
man.
right. That's funny as shit too. Yeah, the main character never knows till it's too late. Then you have to go to Tyr Ravenson's YouTube channel and figure it all out. Fuck, man. Y'all should have come and seen us first, right? I wish I would have known.
Oh, fuck, no kidding. And I mean, the thing is, the problem is if you try and be a preacher, because this movie's perfect about it. The main character doesn't heed the warning from the preacher, because at the very beginning of the movie, the preacher's talking about humanity's spirit has been corrupted and they control everything and wake up. But the thing is, it like he just sort of ignores this message and
Like the
and
preachers today, they're ignoring every single thing that has anything to do with morality. They don't. They co-opt and they're just trying to get people into their doors and they get money and they don't really do anything. The guy never once breached the message in the movie, and they don't do it out here either.
yeah, oh
I mean,
my
are you going
God.
to tell me
It's
what's that one guy's name? That real slick little bastard. Who's that real famous preacher?
I don't
Oh,
keep track of them. I just know that I just look at them like the one that has like what his like freaking like air jet or something that he can fly around with or
it's the
some shit.
Jets. Oh,
Fuck.
Joel Osteen.
Oh my
Anybody
God.
that trusts that little fuck, good lord, man. Yeah, and he's got like 7 mansions. Yeah, he's that guy. I know he's got a jet. You gonna trust that guy?
Oh my
He's not going
god.
to tell you the truth. He's being paid off.
Oh my god.
Did you know?
Well,
On that note, we'll go back to They Live. We're really just kind of BSing on here now. That's fine because we're not going to go. It doesn't always have to be an academic exercise because Connor's diagrams are so useful. But sometimes it's good to just chat. They actually have a school for those fuckers. It's down in Florida and it's secret. I know someone who knows about it. They send you to Televangelist school where you learn how to act and in front of the
learn
camera,
how to sell it. Oh,
how
holy
to sell it. And a lot of those big guys, Creflo Dollar came out of there, that fat fuck John Hagee, all of these people, they're just nauseating. And they're steering everybody in the wrong direction. I don't know any of those people. If you really listen to them, I mean, they have some glitz and glamours and fun shit, and treat your neighbor right, and you can have what you want if you pray enough. But none of them really address the real problems, or they wouldn't be famous. They wouldn't be on TV because guess
that's
who's running TV? Well, it's the
that's
aliens. They live, so they're part
oh
of the board. They're part of that club. People.
yeah.
How
It's
many
and the
times did I
scary
see that
part.
one just now? How many people just unsubbed?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, yeah, I think you're gonna have to do a lot of heavy editing on this
Yeah,
one,
you
man.
can't handle the truth. Fuck it. No, man. You can't. It's over. Why should we continue to I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like, look, we're not here to ruin your day, but we're also not here to continue lying. So if you want lies, go to Joel Osteen and you can send. I've never asked for $1 on this channel. And if I had 7,000 or 700,000 subscribers, I still wouldn't ask you for $1. So go figure. I'm not, I'm disgusted with those people. And you know what? This John Carpenter knew this stuff. He knew it way before 1988.
Yeah, and he put it into a message that that wouldn't get detected. Like wow. Like cuz there's no way if it was going to be this brutally honest, I don't think they would have allowed the movie to air.
Well, they do sometimes. Some of this stuff escapes.
Uh,
Like our channels seem to escape the big acts that happen because there's not enough people to follow it. Some other people that talk about stuff that Susan Wojcicki or whatever her name is doesn't like. Man, that stuff gets axed. It goes away, and they're part of the they live. These are the
yeah.
people that they're talking about. That guy knew. Tell me he didn't know. And these fuckers are making it harder and harder too. Here's the deal. Once it happens from the top, it makes it okay for all the NPCs to act that way. That's how come it deteriorates so fast. Because the narcs that I know, they're too stupid to pull something like this off. They're just selfish. They're just going along with the flow. They're not thinking about it at all. Well, I mean, they're doing it on purpose, but they're not, thinking it through. They just do whatever benefits them.
Yeah, they don't have long-term plans, right? Or generational plans where I'm gonna pass down this complete this complete manipulation system to like, a group of people to do my bidding type of. Perfect. So, yeah, man, you covered it there when I didn't connect the dots there. That Holly, Hollywood. I didn't even connect the dots there. And
Hey, guess who would ruin things? A girl named Holly. Hollywood.
yeah, and the thing that like we'll talk about Holly's character. The fact is, initially, she seems just like a random person, but she may have deliberately got herself caught by this guy because she was always at the right place at the right time for the main hero to screw him over. She was like after he did the little bank job there, he was hanging out in a parking lot, and so she went in because they figured, oh, he can identify aliens. We'll send in a human, and so you can probably bet that they went, well, we can't track her. We just have to have her deal with him, and she'll go in and she'll deal with him. He'll let his guard down, false sense of security, and in the movie, she cranks him with a freaking bottle on the back of the head, and he flies out a freaking window and like rolls down this big long hill. And then she loses him. She can't find him, and the cops are coming to her house and stuff like way sooner than expected. Right? It was like, Oh wow. And the reason I think that what happened is her neighbors might have been human there too, because again, these aliens, they're playing like 20 moves ahead. They really are
Hmm.
to maintain control. And so they've probably already done this shit before. They already have all their plans laid out. And it's just like, oh my God, it's something. And you realize you're dealing with it with a very advanced predator. You're like this whole system that has consumed and altered all your other little systems and has taken over. And in the movie, they said, in by the year 2025, the entire world will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance.
Right.
And number one, there is no alliance here. This is a hierarchy. They are the masters and you are the slave. There is no there's no power alliance, and everything is temporary. All these people that think that they're gonna be benefiting for the rest of their life, no, that's temporary. You sure they'll tell you, just like they lied to everyone else, they'll lie to you and be like, oh yeah, you're definitely secured here for life. No. So it really is a scary thing where Holly, she was used by the aliens and she almost succeeded, and the aliens at one point were going to dispose of her to crush that resistance and get a new spy. That's why they hired that old bum, the hobo. And uh and so they got the hobo, and then she had already, she was done. She was done, and that's why they had the resistance, the get raided and getting shot at by the freaking army police. And again, it was extermination, is what it was. It was these alien police would go in and just tear down the entire resistance and hold people up against the wall and shoot them and stuff, and just like whoa. It just oh man. And so this whole it was really scary. And so Holly, her thing is it's very clear to me. You have to watch the movie multiple times to see it from her angle. She was absolutely a spy, and the aliens had finally decided to discard her. She had outlived her usefulness, because if there's no resistance, why the fuck do we need a resistance spy? We
Hmm.
don't. So you get to go down with the resistance. And because she definitely wasn't notified of that. But instead of rebelling and being on the team human, she went back to her little masters. And because she was none the wiser. And it was just an accident that you were there and we had the cops shooting everyone. Oh, that was just an accident. You fucking. And so it tells me that due to the sheer greed, or maybe not wanting to believe that she'd be put in danger, type of thing, or maybe she felt she had no other choice or whatever. um the reality is she let herself be used again, and that's what we see with NPCs and flying monkeys.
Well, they
they
deserve it, dude. The flying
Yeah.
monkeys and NPCs, they deserve what they get. They get used until there's no more use, and then they get discarded as well.
Yeah, and that's it. Like this entire system is a slave system set up. We in they live. So one of the biggest problems is that it doesn't really matter what you try and do for them when you've outlived your role and they want someone else to fulfill your role. That's the thing, right? Like, you might still be good at the role, but they might need a new person in that role, and then you're gone. And
Yep.
it's just,
That's what they do every time. And as soon as you start to figure them out, too, then you're gone as well.
oh yeah.
What happened at the end of the movie? Like I said, I didn't. I've seen it, and it's been a long time. What happened at the end?
Yeah, so at the end, the two buddies, after the police are raiding the resistance, they escape using the watch because they realize they can teleport with it, and so they jump into this hole which teleports them to a different building, which is the news station that one spy kept saying, oh no, Holly kept saying, oh no, it's definitely not there. Oh, it's definitely not there. It's not in the news station.
Then you know it's
And
there.
oh yeah, exactly right, and very very denial, all lies, and so when the heroes get to the news station, they find that there's all these rich people with huge bank accounts and all clapping, that Earth has been taken over, and your bank accounts have gone up 40%, and and the resistance has been crushed. And just like, wow. And you realize this is a system that they have going. The next resistance that comes up, that hobo would be next on the chopping block, and he wouldn't even know. And that's how they do it. They just, the whole system, it's in play. It's oh man. So they go to the main base, and then they realize they escape. They because they realize this base where they're doing interdimensional travel and stuff, it's the news station. So they get to the top of the tower, and the main hero blows up the broadcast thing that's causing everyone to see these aliens as normal humans. And then when he does that, everyone basically wakes up to it. All of a sudden, the person beside them turns out to be an alien, and they're like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Because they look so different. And then even your advertisement is like, "Hey, there's a freaking alien in that advertisement," being like, "Yeah, buy this car." And
Yeah, I saw there was he was watching TV. I remember he saw him, and like you said, the newscasters, when he put the glasses on and take them off, he could see that they were part of the They Live crowd. Yes. How'd you like to wake up next to one of those? Oops, I think I used to.
Well, that's the sort of the dark comedy at the very end of the movie. You have some girl doing an alien, and then she looks down, and then she sees that it's the alien. He's like, "What's wrong, honey?"
Is that the very end with that one?
The very end, yeah, very end. Yeah,
What's
and
wrong? Yeah.
yeah, very end is, and actually, what's funny is even the portraits on the wall and stuff then say like marry and reproduce and stuff, right? Instead of being picture frames, it's just things like marry and reproduce. So all of a sudden, all of that turns out that was the reality. All these supposedly subliminal messages, those were the messages, and then it was whatever you wanted to see that would make you buy into the message.
These are anti-messages, the obey and consume, but some of the propaganda in there was kind of anti. Like, you should marry and you should reproduce, but I don't know why he threw that in there. Because I remember those messages taking me aback. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a good message. What's the problem with that? So
the problem is doing it unquestioningly, right? Yeah. It's just oh yeah, I got to do this. I got to find someone, and then along comes the alien, and oh, you got to do this, and so
it's just the way things are.
Yeah, and so because that's the thing, like there's actually nothing wrong with some of these messages. There's nothing wrong with them in terms of marry and reproduce, but the reality is it was all made in a way to modify your behavior and control you. That's what it was.
God. You think that these guys aren't spending billions, if not trillions of dollars on getting us to behave the way they want, to buy their pizza, buy their beer, buy their chips and cars? Man, become debt slaves, obey, you wear the mask, take the shot, obey. Like a movie's ahead of its time. I wonder if that guy is John Carpenter still alive?
I think so.
Man, I'd like to talk to him now.
I think someone as famous as him. I don't think. I think he's still young enough to be alive. I don't.
I'd like to talk to him now. What's your sequel?
Oh, well, that's it, right? They never made a sequel of They Live, but I bet it would go something of where they would fix the broadcasting signal again and then go, oh no, what happened there? That was a malfunction and terrorists. It was media terrorists that did it. And that's why your loved one all of a sudden appeared to be an alien for a few days or a few weeks. But don't worry, folks, everything's under control and everything's fine.
I was hoping the sequel would be us like kicking their ass, but like, wait, I came to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
I did. I know when you said that, I've heard that before, but I don't remember that's where it came from. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe it is, and yeah, I think they wanted a memorable one-liner, so they had the wrestler go through they went through the book, and they're like, oh, this one looks good.
When you see that obey with that skull, face and says obey, that is. Am I right? That is the movie it came from, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's
because I never seen it before that. That's just very cool. Because now you see those stickers on people's trucks, or at least down here anyway. People get shirts, and you see the memes all over social media. The obey thing's pretty cool.
I guess end with is that They Live the main character is just an average Joe. Like, he doesn't have any superpowers and he's not someone who's super intelligent. But the reality is he did the right thing and he had enough information to know what to do. And because of that, he was able to topple, at least for a little bit, at least destabilize this incredibly powerful power structure. And
Right.
so I think that does give a little bit of hope to us. And unfortunately, he
Yeah.
made some mistakes along the way, like not knowing enough. But and that's hard. I mean, that's hard. It's like, well, of course he might not know enough, right? But that's where, if he knew more, if he knew that she was a betrayer, because he thought that if you're an alien, you're a bad person. If you're a human, you're good. It's like, no, no, no. That was the preacher's message. He ignored that the human spirit is corrupted, that there's humans working for them. And if he had done that, and had either called out Holly at the resistance meeting before the police raided, at least that would have been like, whoa, wait, what? And at least that they would have been like, whoa, no, she's a bad person, and that could have maybe got the hero to realize she's not a good person, and she's just, oh wow. And so that really, the hero, he did the best with what he knew, and it was enough. But unfortunately, uh, the hero lost a lot. He lost his best friend and even lost his life at the end of the movie, where he gets shot by a helicopter after blowing up the broadcasting signal, and freeing all the other humans. So he had to basically, he paid for it with his life. And unfortunately, if that can be avoided, and his friend's life, if that could be avoided, avoid those casualties, that's the way to go about it. But unfortunately, he didn't. He didn't have enough information. The aliens simply knew so much, and they knew how to play the game. They knew how to play, and he didn't. He was just an ordinary guy. He didn't know. And so it's unfortunate, because if he had been around the resistance long enough, he probably could have gotten smart to that stuff, but he didn't have the knowledge. And so I think that's the key
Well,
thing
if he
here.
was around the system, he would have been indoctrinated too, and he wouldn't have been able to see it for what it was.
Well, he was indoctrinated initially. Like, he really was. He really
Well,
thought everything was normal.
I
And
thought that he kind of was removed from it at the first of the movie. Was he not kind of removed from that situation? He kind of stumbled into it.
well, no, he was, at the beginning of the movie. He just figured, life is, things are bad, and he's hoping things will work out for the best. But he didn't have any suspicions that
Well, he
that
wasn't
there's
part of the
actually.
corporate world or part of the media or anything. He wasn't in that. He was a little bit removed from the norms,
Yes,
and so him
yeah,
being a
that's a
little
good
bit
point.
removed made him not be as indoctrinated. He was just like, if this is the way it is. It left him open enough to see what was going on, even though he
That's
did
it.
seem kind of like a dumbass in the movie, to tell you the truth.
Oh
But
yeah, well, I mean, he completely fell for the bullshit from Holly, because Holly's like, "Oh, are you all right? I was so worried about you. I thought you died." It's like, yeah, after you crack him over the back of the head with a wine ball, obviously that's what you were trying to do. Like, so the thing is, though, but he buys it. He buys into the bullshit, and it's just like, oh no. And because of that, the consequences from that are disastrous. And he almost the resistance was crushed, and that was basically inevitable, with or without him. The main character didn't influence that. She was already a spy, and she was already doing her thing, and that was already going to happen. She was already that was already going to happen to her. But what what really changed is that, because he was involved, he managed to cause the great change, and managed to make it happen, because the resistance was crushed. He really was humanity's last hope, along with his friend. And that was, like, it's scary
dude,
stuff, because
dude,
yeah.
I am Nada, and you are his best friend. I'm just kidding. Didn't you said his best friend died? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that
slightly
sucks.
before
That
he
was a
did.
bad. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah,
Look, if
well, I mean,
like we
if possible, I'd like to avoid that. Don't
we
be
don't
getting any Hollies around you now.
trying to insert myself into a much more important position than I really deserve. Never mind. I'm sorry. That was funny.
You're not
Uh,
you're not wrong, though. Like, I mean, when you think about it,
Dude, seriously, I always say if Connor's the smartest guy in the room, we're all okay. But if I'm the smartest guy in the room, you better watch out, because we're in fucking trouble. Like, oh my God, Tyr's the smartest guy in the room. We're so fucked. Yeah, man, that was a great movie. I started to remember that it started to come back as you were telling about it. I enjoyed it immensely. I should watch it again. I think we should do the Gaslight movie too. I think that'd be kind of neat. There's a few of them that are out there that that it's just I don't know. I think people do know about what's going on in the things like you and I talk about. All right, everyone. Thanks again. I'm going to sign off, and I hope to see y'all again real soon.